Thank you very much for allowing me to speak. My name's Sarah Cains. I've been a resident of Wingecarribee since 1985 and I'm a horticulturalist. The Wingecarribee tree strategy leaves our local community in a state of contradiction. The voice of our young people has been researched by community groups. Surveys tell that, together with so many of our adult community members, their main concern is climate change and loss of biodiversity. Tree planting is integral to success in addressing these issues, but the current model of plantings in public spaces is, in too many instances, failing. Necessary changes towards rebuilding a vital natural landscape are essential to success. In our schoolrooms, children are taught science and the imperative to enrich natural ecosystems. Great numbers of our adult citizens are active in bush regeneration and river care, in counting birds and nurturing natural habitat for turtles and platypus and koalas. But when we look at our civic spaces and when those kids come outside, they see that contradiction. What they see is not a concerted effort to restore a healthy natural landscape, but rather ongoing projects that continue to reinforce the changed landscape, a landscape that celebrates faraway places. It's noticeable that there is not one local park or garden dedicated to the display, nurture and study of our local flora. We need a place where we can test new steps and learn about possibilities provided by native trees and shrubs. There are so many useful projects that could be run to enrich our community and teach future generations if we had such a space. There is an ongoing problem with unsuitable plant choices being made for council. Skills such as tree advice are still being outsourced to other districts, which causes mistakes to be made. There is local knowledge available. Let's use it. For projects such as the Bong Bong Commons planting, hugely expensive mature exotic conifers were chosen in preference to a plan of natives put together by skilled volunteers. The plan was for a model windbreak planting using native plants, a planting that would help to educate community about how to plant a shelter belt whilst performing the work of protecting that lovely new community parkland, plus enhancing habitat. Sadly, those chosen exotic trees are unsuitable for the soils where they were planted and the flooding that occurs there in that riverside position. After a short time, they're already dead and dying. Clearly, there is a place for exotics in some situations. I'm not suggesting that all the plantings of old favourite exotics should be removed from parks and gardens. I know how precious the Cherry Tree Memorial Walk is in Bowral. Sections of it have thrived and bring delight to all who walk there. But from a horticultural point of view, the 90, I think it is, very expensive mature trees that have been planted where successions of previous same species trees have died are at risk of failing. Planting trees is not like painting pictures. You can't just put a tree where you want it to grow and expect it to thrive. The first point of consideration with tree planting is to look at what it will be growing in. We have to stop fighting against soil and the climate and decide to work with them. But by continually choosing what we want rather than what we need, we will continue to fail and we will continue to bleed money. At last year's community forum organised to address the issue of dying trees in the Highlands, we were told by Professor Brett Summerall that there are soil pathogens active in much of our soil and that the local native plants are the most likely to succeed and to overcome these problems. By ignoring this advice, we're setting ourselves up to fail. We're actively reinforcing an outdated story and we're failing future generations. We can no longer afford to travel this path. It's time to change the model. Of course, there will be those who criticise. Change is always confronting. But by the power of strong leadership and good work, we can change the way doubters in our community see and value a true local landscape. I request that steps be taken to address the problems I've described here and the contradictions that tree planting is presenting in our community. Thank you very much.